And then it was discovered, thanks to the wonderful feminist that Blake Lively is. To people that are wondering in the comments if you should feel bad because she looks anxious, the answer is no, you shouldn't feel bad, and she should be anxious.
Hit that subscribe button. And let's get into it. Blake Lively is spiraling after Candace Owens crushed her fake victim routine and exposed every pathetic stunt she attempted.
This was really, truly just high school bullying done to the Hollywood extreme.
Owens did not hold back, blasting Lively's manipulations, media payoffs, and her desperate push to sabotage Baldwin.
About how Justin Baldoni felt when he was in that basement at his own movie premiere. And they were laughing and dancing upstairs, thinking that they had almost done it.
She even said that Blake's level of deceit was beyond forgiveness, a staged scheme that crossed every line.
The task is not on the people who caught you doing that thing to extend forgiveness to you when you have not asked for forgiveness. That is the important part here, okay?
Now Blake is in complete crisis mode, and watching Candace drag her is pure entertainment. This is what happens when you pose as the victim while plotting behind the curtain. Eventually someone sharp will rip the mask off, Blake thought. She was untouchable, that a few feminist catchphrases would polish her image and keep the press on her side. Not this time, not with Candace on stage delivering one of the harshest public humiliations of her career.
You recapture that in your own imagination. Recapture how Justin Baldoni and his family must have felt, realizing that if it wasn't for us meddling kids, okay? If it wasn't for us meddling kids, he would have effectively been branded as a sexual pervert. That would have been the story of Justin Baldoni.
This is the disease of Hollywood elites like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. They float in a bubble, believing the public is too naive to see Blake painted herself as the innocent actress fighting a supposed monster. But Candace ripped that fairy tale apart. What remains is the real Blake, a calculating PR-obsessed manipulator who tried to weaponize the press and got burned.
Was meant to be an act of evil against a harmless person. She sensed his weakness and she went for it. And yes, I too would be anxious and uncomfortable if the world finally saw me for exactly what I...
The internet is on fire, and for good reason. This is not a small clapback. It is a complete demolition of Hollywood's favorite trick, playing the victim, while secretly pulling strings behind the scenes. Blake has no comeback. Picture her storming around the house yelling at Ryan to call TMZ, while Candace Owens laughs. And the most fake part, Blake's paper-thin victim story. She went from beloved Hollywood sweetheart to suddenly an oppressed starlet. And the press ate it up even while she was trying to destroy Justin Baldwin's career.
I will not forget it, but when she comes down and asks for an apology, then we can revisit.
But here is the truth, Blake, you cannot have it both ways. You do not get to cry victim while secretly paying PR teams to leak smear campaigns. Candace pulled receipts. Lively's own people were feeding scripted sob stories to TMZ and Variety. Even worse, her timeline is a wreck. In December 2024, she swore Baldwin was a monster and claimed years of suffering. By February 25th, her legal filings contradicted half of it. Candace tore through those contradictions like a forensic expert.
Into a category of porn that nobody has ever heard of, which is a woman giving birth. Realize that they sat down, they made threats in an effort to take over his movie. And when they didn't get what they wanted, they were willing to brand him as a sexual predator via one of the most powerful news organizations in the world.
Candace laid it out clearly. Blake's story does not match up. If she had real proof, why was she constantly changing her version based on media reaction? The answer is obvious. There was never a case. It was smoke and mirrors, a PR stunt made to milk sympathy while destroying Baldwin's career. Owens did not buy it, and no one with common sense should.
To the wonderful feminist that Blake Lively is.
Then came the knockout. Candace revealed Blake Lively as the ultimate fake feminist. Blake built a brand shouting about women's empowerment, but only when it helped her. She was one of the loudest voices during Me Too, acting as if she cared about accountability, but the second her own image was on the line, she used that same language as a shield, turning a movement into her personal tool.
Is that there has definitively been a noticeable transition in Blake Lively's public demeanor, right? We're kind of used to seeing, and pardon my language here, but we're very used to seeing like a bitchy Blake, right? She's very unkind to reporters, and genuinely I think that there's just a lack of a better word there.
By 2025, Blake was recycling the same media tricks, she once pretended to fight dragging a man's name through the dirt with no due process what happened to truth, and just as those words vanished, when it suited her lies, Candace mocked the hypocrisy. Mercilessly, Blake complains about Hollywood corruption while exploiting the same what she claims to hate.
She seems to hate the press junkets over the years. She barely seems to enjoy her fans. She kind of thinks that she's above her fans, thinks she's above the...
And here's where it gets ruthless. Candace dug up Blake's own 2018 interviews where she attacked Hollywood spin machines and PR manipulation back. Then Blake lectured about how stars twist narratives to protect themselves. Fast forward, and she is running the exact same playbook, expecting the world to see her as different. Candace exposed the irony. So thick, it should be criminal. You cannot preach justice, then weaponize the media. Once you are under fire.
Have they asked for forgiveness? And Blake Lively has not. She has not said sorry. She has not even said sorry to the court. She has not dropped the lawsuit. She has not made a statement. She has not apologized to anyone for attempting to execute an act of perfect evil.
Even feminist groups are backing away. That is how toxic Blake has become. Candace noted that organizations once eager to support her are now distancing because they know this ship is sinking. Backing Blake now is PR suicide. She was not fighting for women. She was fighting for herself. And Candace made sure no one forgot it. This is not justice. It is ego revenge and power dressed as empowerment.
Truly, it is not an act to suggest that Blake Lively is anxious at this moment in time with so much on the line and everything that she feels that she's worked.
Then came the mic drop. Candace flat out compared Blake's strategy to Amber Heard's. And you know that stung. She laid it all out: the PR manipulation, the victim theatrics, the feminist buzzwords, the contradictions, the shifting stories, and finally the public collapse. The similarities are nearly identical and shocking. More people did not say it earlier. And let's be real, we know how Amber's story ended. Candace said it clear: Blake is running the same playbook, and it is about to blow up in her face.
People are just not going to watch a movie with Blake Lively.
This is what happens when celebrities think they are untouchable. Blake thought she could weaponize social justice as a shield from accountability, but Candace Owens was not having it. She dismantled every lie, every staged claim, and every attempt to twist the story. Now Blake's credibility is rubble, contradictions piled up, and an image collapsing in real time. And worst of all, she has no one to blame but herself.
Showed you where he brought his mom in to mock Justin Baldoni and to make fun of him and his background and his family and ayahuasca. Blake Lively was present.
And then Ryan Reynolds, Mr. Funny Guy who avoids drama, dragged right into the fire. Candace exposed how he was not just a background husband, but involved in Blake's legal mess. He thought sarcasm and gin ads would hide him. But Candace came with receipts. His clean image shattered.
Like Ryan Reynolds especially.
So what receipts did Candace bring? Just a few text messages from July 2024, where Reynolds contacted Sony executives trying to pressure them into dropping Justin Baldwin. Yes, that Ryan Reynolds.
Said that immediately when she was on the red carpet with Ryan. He didn't, obviously, because he is, I think, just a narcissist to his core. But, they chose to walk the red carpet and he was kind of pointing at...
The same man who acts like a harmless goofball online was secretly meddling in a legal battle because Blake's victim narrative was not working fast enough. Candace mocked him for scheming in the shadows, thinking he would never get caught. The irony. He stayed silent when Blake launched accusations, letting her pose as the fragile victim. But once their brand was hit, suddenly Ryan pulled strings, predictable and pathetic.
Zoomed in on her face in that moment, and you saw Kevin Costner kind of looking down in that SNL moment. She doesn't look comfortable. She doesn't. She looks anxious. She looks like she doesn't really want to be out in public when she knows that the public does not.
Candace laughed at the entitlement. This is Hollywood couple privilege. At its purest, Ryan and Blake believed their names alone could bend studios' silence critics and rewrite reality. But fans are not buying it anymore. The goofy husband act is dead. The internet has his number, and he played himself.
Lively until the person at least asks for it. Also, you don't need to do drugs, accept Jesus.
Pathetic. Let's talk about Blake's PR circus. Candace Owens roasted it so hard you would think Blake fled the country. Honestly, her PR team deserves malpractice charges because every move has backfired. Candace did not just criticize their plan, she ripped it apart piece by piece, leaving only embarrassment.
Then for South by Southwest, some people are noticing that she's rambling when she's speaking on stage, to the point of almost incoherency, rambling to deal with her angst.
Take Blake's big emotional statement in March 2025, a perfectly rehearsed speech, hand on chest, fake tears on cue. Candace called it Oscar-worthy acting. And she was right, you could almost hear the PR team feeding her lines. Candace mocked the timing to no tears in December 2024, when accusations started. But once the public stopped buying it, suddenly she sobs, performance exposed in real time.
They rambling, and you can sense she's uncomfortable, and a lot of hand movements. But I'll also add that even when you see her walking the red carpet, she's suddenly very nice to fans. It's a totally different Blake Lively.
Then came Blake's reckless attempt to smear Baldoni through the press, a move that exploded in her face. Almost instantly, Candace laughed as outlets like Daily Mail and New York Post fact-checked her and shredded her story. Blake thought she could flood the internet with fake headlines and get away, but she forgot people actually read. Candace ripped her for thinking the public would blindly believe her.
Very mean girl, who will even use A-list power and the threat of dragons to take somebody down who just wanted to bring forth a movie that they were passionate about.
And the most absurd stunt, Blake's attempt to subpoena Hollywood execs who had nothing to do with the case. She was tossing subpoenas like confetti, dragging random names into her circus just to look powerful. Candace compared it to flailing in water when you cannot swim. Desperate, sloppy, and doomed. It was a last-ditch attempt for credibility, but only showed her panic. Candace mocked it as one of the weakest PR plays she had ever seen, and she was right. But here is the twist: Blake was not done. She tried to use Taylor Swift, and Candace ripped that move so brutally Blake may never recover.